After all the storms we had recently and all the rain. Rain's been getting in somewhere and it's causing damage, so the walls are starting to get really damaged. The black mould is a big sign because we didn't realise that the water was getting in because there was never a pool of water on the floor. But we realised obviously the wallpaper had gotten saturated and now the black mould is out in force, so that's a bit of a worry. We're going to have to rip that all off soon. But first of all, we need to arrest the leak, find where it's getting in and try and stop it. So that means putting up scaffolding outside.
In this week's episode of Chateau Capers, I'm taking on a challenging task at a precarious height, friends visit for a break and get put to work, and Chateau DIY film the dustiest project we've ever started. Our friends Gav and Lynn were visiting from Spain, so we met them in the mountains for an afternoon lunch before heading back home to the chateau. The next morning we took them out for a walk along the river in the sunshine. This was to lull them into a false sense of mini-break security, for we are hard taskmasters here. Only kidding. Gav's a bit of a bird-watching twitcher. Or do I just mean he's twitchy around birds? Gav and Lynn were keen to pitch in and work. This meant Jane and I had to get off our backsides and do some work as well. This was the opportunity I needed to erect the scaffolding to inspect the roof leak. Before we could really get started, however, I was given a side quest to start the mower. Mower started, side quest complete. Having the scaffold tower half built was only a half help, as there's no way into the dog garden except over the fence. This meant, as you can see, taking the bloody thing apart and passing it over bit by bit. As usual, the 3 spaniels were about as much use when building scaffolding as Bunty was that time I asked to look after a box of eggs. We still don't know what happened to them, but she was very windy for a day or two. The ground here is rather uneven, so when building scaffolding that will ultimately be about 6 metres high, it was important to try to level it up as best one can. We used stabilising legs and outriggers to ensure we wouldn't come crashing down anytime soon. Some days the chateau looks relatively imposing, and other days it can appear slightly more diminutive. This was a combination day. The place we were aiming for didn't appear that high, but we felt exhausted by the time we got there.
So this stuff is, well, it's not lead, it's flashing, but it's not lead flashing, tin or something. And you can see this, the whole thing is a bit damaged. This isn't too bad, just paint, but here, for example, it's the cement work or lime work or the render, whatever, it's just powdering away. So we're going to have to scratch that back, find solid space and then rebuild it up, which is going to be fun. Gav's pointing at the old mastic that they've used to seal up this window, which oddly enough, and I don't think I knew this, it's a double glazed window unit.
Oh yeah.
So it the seal's coming out. It's one minor repair done.
I don't have your finger dexterity, do I? Right.
That's done it. So yeah, this. Yeah. And we can see here, which is we're hoping that the issue that we've got inside is because all of this has come away. So this was filled in with cement, just repaired with cement, which I guess isn't the right thing. So maybe some lime, mortar might help. We can shove that in, hopefully it'll go off and stay in place. We'll try that. And maybe that'll help to stop the leak, because you can see down here, the camera can pick it up. You can see the staining on the render. So this, in between these two windows, is the worst of where the water ingress is getting, and on the inside of the wall next to that window there, it's covered in black mould. It's really, really bad. So there's definitely issues here. I just hope we can solve them.
With the dormer inspected and a feeling of mild horror at the state of the stonework, I paused to formulate my next move.
Welcome to Jane's Find of the Day with Jane.
Hello and welcome to this week's Find of the Day at Château de Pican. This is one of two beautiful, very heavy cast iron planters. It has got some gorgeous detail. This crisscross pattern is what dates it in particular to the Belle Epoque period, 1880 to 1910. We've got these sweet little curved feet and these ear-like handles on the side. It also has drainage holes inside, so it was meant to be used for planting. It wasn't purely decorative, but I understand it wasn't ever meant to be outside. It would have been, or at least not fully outside, it would have been a balcony, une orangerie like here, jardin d'hiver, so partly covered, partly inside, partly outside. And to go with this aesthetic of railings and ironwork, intricate ironwork of that period. So it's architectural as well as functional. As I said, it's really heavy. I mean, at a guess, I'd say 10 kilos. I haven't tried weighing it, but it is really, really heavy. It's definitely solid. So it is a proper antique.
Meanwhile, outside, Jane wanted to make a start on her next project, a tropical garden to complement the swimming pool orangery area. This meant turning our mud sculpture of a Pyrenean mountain into 3 neat beds to be planted up with whatever exotic and wondrous plants Jane could find. Between them, they must have moved a couple of tons of soil onto the new bedding area. That evening, we rewarded them with a barbecue by the pool. The next morning, some of us were a little worse for wear. Gav battled on, slowly carving up the earth mound, while Lynn helped Jane do the weeding in the rose garden.
This bush has to go. We don't like it. It's not terribly pretty bush. It's just big, it's overgrown, and it's taking up a massive amount of space in what is a very overgrown garden border. So we're desperate to reclaim all of this so Jane can start designing what she'd like to have in this border. And so now I'm going to get the chainsaw and chop it down. Getting there. It's more than half down though, but there's a lot of bramble and just wild roses in there, so I've got to be really careful because I don't want to hurt my poor little handsies. Well, that's the worst of it done. It's down to just a multi-branched stump. I'm actually out of breath. It's just a big clear up now and working out what to do with it all. I think I've made more mess than I've done help. Anyway, that's one thing less to worry about. We've been thinking about that for an awfully long time, and now that's cut down. But there's a monster pile of bramble and rose in there, which is going to be absolutely no fun at all cutting out. But I'm not going to do that today.
I wheeled out my trusty friend Woody Woodchipper, who started first time I might add, and made very loud work of making a mulch for the rose garden. This Jane then sprinkled by the barrow load onto the freshly weeded beds. Whilst there's still more clearing to do, here's a quick before and after of the view from the barn to the chateau. When Gav and Lynn were digging over the spoil heap to make Jane's tropical plant bed, they came across this thing. And it's one piece of metal in this shape. It almost looks like a key, but it's one piece of metal that goes round like that, and therefore it sort of makes a bit of a spring. The two ends do sort of spring back together. But we have no idea what it's for. I mean, could it be a meat hook for hanging meat up? Or could it be an ancient key of some description? Or perhaps, I don't know, maybe it's just off some sort of farm machinery, some threshing machine, or for turning the grass. We have no idea. But if you know what this is, or have any suggestions, or even silly suggestions, please let us know in the comments, because we're quite fascinated by it.
Hey, you! You are like a rice cake. If I was hungry, I would eat you, but I would hate every moment of it. What are you doing? I am shouting at the locals. It is fun. Try it. You there! I knew your mother, and she was not very popular. Oh, that does sound like fun. Let me try. Bonjour, monsieur. Your dress sense is out of date. Come on, you can be meaner than that. They cannot get to us. Listen to me. Hey, they say stripes make you look thinner, but they make you look like a watermelon. Oh, that is funny, because they do look like a watermelon. Hey, you. You know that one person at work who nobody likes because they're a big stupid poopy head? That's you, that is. And your sister fraternizes with multiple men. See how much fun that was? I am now very tired. Shall we have a nap? Good idea.
The moment that perhaps none of you have been waiting for.
In terms of what this is worth, have you had a guess? What do you think? We've got two of them. We've got a pair. They're identical. And it is the sort of thing that's worth more if you do have a pair. Well, have a guess. One of these is being sold for £404, but I've seen a pair on offer for sale in the UK for £1,500 and similarly in the US for $1,975 for a pair. So it's that kind of money that people are asking for a pair of these 130-year-old planters.
It's another lovely day, but it is a little bit windy, so if there's wind on the microphone, I do apologise. Jane has meticulously measured out the right dosage to mix up a batch of a lime mortar that we need to do the repointing around the window. And it may double up, I don't know, I'll see what the consistency's like, but it may be able to double up to help repair some of the damaged front of the decorative front of that dormer window, the circular window. Well, we'll see what it's like, see what it comes out like, and hopefully we want to get it in to the hole to stop the water getting in. That's the most important thing. Where's the water?
When I started rubbing down the flaking paint, I realised the problem was much worse than I'd imagined. The sandstone facade was in a bad way, flaking and crumbling before my eyes. I saw no option but to brush away the damaged stonework and attempt to reform it with the lime mortar. I have no experience of rebuilding a facade like this, so it's something of a voyage of discovery. The lime wasn't all that keen to adhere initially, but as I tried new ways of sticking it to the stone, I was able to refine my approach and the repair began to take shape. I think a major part of the problem is the non-breathable paint layer on top of the stonework. Once the paint inevitably cracks and lets water in, the trapped moisture starts doing damage. Salts carried in the water can crystallise and expand, which causes the sandstone to flake. Add in the freeze-thaw cycle, which does essentially the same thing by forming expanding ice crystals that put huge pressure on the outer surface, and damage becomes inevitable. The upper section of the stone only needed a very thin layer of mortar, and I was struggling to get it to stick. The best method I found was simply to rub handfuls of mortar upwards against the surface. For some reason it put me in mind of someone staging a dirty protest. Until I was sure the new mortar had properly bonded to the stone, I didn't want to do too much, but I was eager to see whether I could start building up the layers to reform the damaged decorative swirl pattern, and I have to say, I was actually rather pleased with how it turned out.
I've plugged all the holes in between the mansard roof and this window, dormer window, whatever it is. So I'll let that dry off and then I'll tidy it up. And we'll see if that has solved the problem. I might have to put the drone up higher, up there, because I can't see up there, I'm not that tall, to see if there's any other place that we think the water might be getting in. You can see the sandstone shaping has been damaged, so I've been trying to recreate that with some success, I'm happy to say. Sorry, my iPhone camera's in the way. But yeah, so that's a rounded shape at the bottom, which I'm trying to match with the other side. There's a swirl pattern there that's yet to be done, and this curve here, which is I've kept relatively close to the original.
After a few days curing, this is how it looks now. Chateau DIY were back to filmers making progress on the last of the gîte bedrooms, the room we currently refer to as the laundry room. Basically, there are water pipes running all over this room, but as they're buried beneath the floor, I have no idea where exactly they are. Also, the chateau would actually benefit from an increased flow rate from the incoming water main. The pressure at the meter is staggering, but as the pipe diameter narrows the moment it enters the chateau, if I can widen the bore of the pipe a bit further into the building, hopefully that will pay water dividends in one's shower experience. To do this, I had to make a decision. The decision went something like this. Rory, for that is my name, let's move the main stopcock into the reconfigured shower room just near where it splits into multiple pipes and spreads out around the chateau. This clever and elegant idea, if I do say so myself, would lead on to the 2 dustiest days of my life, and was brought to you from the mind that just voiced 2 cats shouting insults from a balcony window. What could possibly go wrong?
This week's boo-boo of the day with Rory and his big tools. This is conduit with electrical pipes in, and I've hit it with the SDS chisel there, which has crushed it in a bit. Probably done the same there, and also you can see down there that I've put the diamond-edged stone cutting blade through it, and twice I tripped the electricity, which makes me think I may have touched a wire. So I'm going to have to open this up a bit more and carefully look and see what damage there might have been done in there, which is a bit of a pain. I think it's feeding the electrical boxes up there. One was for the well pump and one was for a hot water cylinder. So I think, and possibly a couple of plug sockets. So there we go. I better go a bit more carefully.
With the various start of day and end of day interviews we filmed, this trench, along with some precision lawn mowing by Jane, ended up making up the bulk of our first day's shooting. All that remained was to have a really good tidy up. There's something quite soothing about guilt-free watching somebody else do the cleaning. Then I remembered my electrical issue. I cut the floor back to expose the conduit and assess the damage. I think we might have to get a man in. All in all, not bad for an afternoon's work.
Well, we might be having some warm days at the moment, but we've still got a ground frost this morning. Boy, does it feel cold.
The next day, the schedule required us to film a new hit, TV parlance for shooting a fresh segment. And no, I don't have a builder's bum, that's a perfectly tucked in t-shirt. Before the crew arrived, I wanted to finish off my trench. I finally uncovered a section of the existing buried pipe, which will need to be cut out when I connect the new main because it's sitting right in the way. Meanwhile, at the other end of the trench, I found the waste pipe I'll need to cut into to connect the new shower room and basin. Even when filming reality, as it were, there is a fair amount of planning goes into each segment. Lights may need to be positioned, the camera angles thought out, a rough idea of what might need saying to explain what's happening, moving a piece of furniture that's in the bloody way. All of this takes time, and so some days it doesn't feel like we achieve nearly as much as if we were just keeping our heads down and getting on with the work in hand. If you are up to date with our previous videos, you'll know that we decided to wall up this alcove and turn it into a combined toilet and shower room. This means cutting a doorway through the dividing wall. I'm not knocking the whole wall down, as it will make up part of the shower enclosure. Fortunately, before cutting a door-shaped hole in the wall, I was able to use a cheap detector to locate live wires in the wall. As luck would have it, there were wires running right through the middle of the wall where I'm making a doorway. This means I'll need to expose and move the cable before I can knock down the rest of the door section. FYI, I could have hired a device that would have found those naughty wires in the floor, but I really wasn't expecting them to be there. That's my excuse and I'm sticking with it. Jane was invited in to witness the final cut before knocking out the first section with a hammer. It's ideal for capturing genuine reactions on camera. After all, every chateau needs a good smashing the wall down moment now and then. And that was it. The first section of doorway down was all we could fit into the day's filming. I will have more dusty days ahead, but now it was time to tidy up and get showered. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe and hype if you can, and we'll catch up again soon.